Unfortunately enough, I have forgotten, either in French or in English or in German, the name of those modern masters. In antiquity, they were called philosophers. In order to explain why I am interested in the theme of the culture of the self as a philosophical and as an historical question, with a comparison between the present moment and a previous one, or those interrogations deal with the announcement of a future through some signs which have to be deciphered. Most of the time, the question about present is a question about decline or improvement, proximity of a new age, or arrival of the promised last days. In Kant's text, the question is put in terms of a very specific achievement in the general history of reason, or more precisely, in the general history of the way we use our reason. And this kind of interrogation is interesting on two grounds. First, the first reason is that the 18th century is very often credited with the universal conception of reason, and this assumption is correct. But the 18th century has been also aware of the historical changes in the use of reason, and the representation Kant gives of those historical changes is very different from a simple progress of development of reason. But I think that there is another justification for paying attention to the text written by Kant about enlightenment. This text, I think, has introduced, in the field of philosophical reflection, a new kind of question, the question of the nature, the meaning, the historical and philosophical signification of the which he is himself a part. I don't mean that previous philosophers were not aware of their own present and that they did not worry about it. Hobbes, Descartes, Spinoza, Leibniz took into account their own situation and the situation of the contemporary world, as Plato did or Augustine. But for Descartes, the failure of several so-called sciences, for Hobbes, the political situation of England, for Leibniz, the religious debates and quarrels, were reasons for them to intervene and try to change something in such a situation. I think that Kant's question about Aufklärung meant something else. At the same time, Kant gives a justification of his own philosophical task through analyzing the actuality which he belonged to, and he gives as a target to his philosophical work to play a certain role in the natural, in the spontaneous history of reason. In this short paper about enlightenment, Kant raises